Okay, sorry for those. I forgot to start making a tape. I'm just going to start from here and then maybe go back to the beginning here. So this one, just by looking at the math, you should understand that there's two answers. Oh, and then we can pick up on this, the plus minus thing. Student number 12, yes, that's what we're doing. All right. Does negative 22 work? So I'm just going to ask you, what's negative 22 plus 11? I'm plugging it into the original equation. Then what's negative 11 squared? 121 still. So yes, there are always two numbers that work. And of course, 0 plus 11 is 11 squared, which is 121. So it's all fine. But this is what students always miss. It's always because of that basic thing that we have right there. So section 1.1, we're going to continue with this. But the real reason is get graphing calculator. Show it one more time. But I forgot we actually did this in chapter P too. So we're good to go. Got a student for this one. What do you think would be smart to do on this one?
Plug in our graphing calculator?
No! This would be a non-graphing calculator question. I hope you're not doing that, sir. Then you're a screen copying, button pushing. We won't use any more adjectives.
Well, times it all by 4?
I think times it by 4 is a smart idea. Even though I love fractions. I do love fractions, by the way. It is often easier to not deal with them. And then this is another redundant question. How do you solve an x squared?
Factor.
Can it factor, though? The way of assessing it factors is m is negative 12. And then a is a big negative 28. Wow.
So, can't factor.
Yeah, there's no m that is negative 12 and a is negative 28. So since I can't factor, it's the what?
Quadratic formula.
Now watch what I do. I'm actually going to do something really important for students that are in CAT beyond Algebra 2 and Algebra 1. So here's the quadratic formula. The opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared. Now I just remember this from earlier in the day. 28 squared is 784. By the way, if you're a button pusher and you type negative 28 squared, what is the, is it 28? Yeah. What does the calculator spit out at you? A negative. And then I get students put a negative on the inside of the absolute or the square root. Sorry, that's a bad statement there. I just lost my mind for a second. No, that's another button pushing screen copier. You're not even thinking. What's a negative times a negative, everybody? Say it. Because if you ever make this mistake, it's an actual unacceptable mistake in here. Unacceptable in this high-level college algebra trig math class. And then here's another unacceptable mistake. Student number 26. What kind of number do we get after that minus sign because of the product that we have there? I mean, what's going to happen here?
You mean negative?
Okay, this is negative, and what's minus a negative?
Positive.
That's another unacceptable mistake, not knowing that this is minus a negative, which actually means you're adding 4 times 4 times 3 to 784. All right, so these are the things that actually hit the college algebra trig students that should not. Now, I know I'm blabbering. What do we get on the inside then? 28 plus or minus. What do we get there? Somebody tell me the number. We got it. They weren't button pushing, and it did require some button pushing just to think about that. Now, this is where you need to listen. I said the same joke all the other periods. If you start taking this 832 to try to break it out and start treeing it, you're going to get a tree so big that it's like a sequoia. You know what a sequoia is? It's one of those huge things in California. And it doesn't, is that the name of the tree? I said Sasquatch first hour. That's the animal that people believe, whatever. But no. Number crunch. At least 2 goes in there. Try 4. Lies. Try 16. So take 832 divided by 16. Tell me what you get. Why would I pick 16, by the way? It's a perfect square, and I see 832. I'm thinking a multiple of 2 is in there. Does it work? Success. What's left over? 52. Wait, stop. Hold 16 in your head, and then 52 is even. Try 4, because 4 is a perfect square. What's 52 divided by 4? Now reverse it. Take 16 times 4. What's 16 times 4? 64 times 13 is guaranteed to be 832 now that I just did all that. So what I'm trying to identify is perfect squares. And I got a real good one. So what's the square root of 64, everybody? 8. So, what this, let's get this sequoia tree out of here. 28 plus or minus 8 square root of 64, root 13 stuck in jail. And then, how do I break this down if I want the exact answer? You have two ways. Remember the homework quiz from last week? One thing they did is they separated this in two separate fractions. And then the reason that's kind of nice, you do get a unique answer like this. 7 halves. But then plus or minus a big gargantuan root 13. Or another way is, what are all three of these divisible by? Not 8, but they're actually all divisible by what? 4 actually is the better answer. And then this is a way of writing it as one fraction with a common denominator. And then I will go over this, and I don't care if I bore you to tears, but these are the mistakes for doing cat forever that I see students make. One is reducing this right, but then the other is getting the decimals out of this. The only thing I'm going to teach you is this. I couldn't care less if you have a fraction button on your calculator. By the way, who knows how to get a fraction on their calculator? Raise your hand. It actually takes longer than doing this. 7 plus 2 root 13. Stop. Press enter now. Then take that answer and divide by 2. That is faster than accessing the fraction button. And then 7 minus 2 root 13. Stop. Press enter. Then divide that answer by 2. The only reason you have to be careful on that is if the denominator was actually complicated, then you can't do that, or else you got to use parentheses, and we'll talk about that later. Okay, so did cover this already before. First hour, I guess I had a flashback that I didn't know if we've actually covered how to solve an equation with a graphing calculator. So again, remember the y1, y2 thing and find the intersection? We've done that quite a bit already, and I'm going to do it some more. Okay? All right. Okay, so obviously there's no 10 product rule. I think we had this in chapter P. I had a question like this. No, you don't put x equals 10 and then 2x minus. What do you have to do on this one?
Distribute the x.
And then what do you have to do with the 10?
Subtract 10.
Ooh, and then you'll be online. And then what? You do a table, that's fine. I think we should actually get to this point. We should not do like a mod table and then the 4-step method of factoring on this. You know why? What has to be in these first two positions there? What absolutely has to be there? There's only one option. X and? Oh no, I'm going to jump out the window knowing no one answering that right now. Good FOILers are good whats, everybody? Factors, what? All right, good FOILers are good factors. So if this is x, what has to be over here?
X.
Not x, 2x. You're killing me, Smalls, because what's x times 2x? 2x squared. If you factor without thinking about foiling, that's why you factor bad. That is why. I'm throwing it out there. Because those that don't factor, they do this long convoluted method, and then they circle an answer that has nothing even to do with the original question, that could not possibly foil to be what was given to you. Now, who knows the second set of parentheses? Or the second parts? Go ahead. Plus 2, and then what? Why is that a good possibility? Because what's 2 times negative 5? So we've got the first and the last covering the first and last. The only thing we have to worry about is the middle. What's negative 5x plus 4x? Negative x. Is that the middle term that we're looking for? Now, we're not foiling, we're checking. We're actually solving. Fine. Sometimes it's not good to do the reverse FOIL method is what I call this. So what is your M number? Sorry, I didn't want to take your thunder away. What is the M number? And we'll go ahead and do this if you need it, but we got to wean you away from this. What's A equal to? Okay, and then what are the two numbers that make that happen? And then what you do with that middle term is split it up, right? Sorry, I should let you talk. And then what do you do after that?
You take out the Greatest common.
Between these two and these two. What is the greatest common factor here?
X.
And then what are you left with?
2x minus 1.
And then what do you take out of this next one?
2.
And then what do you take out of here?
X minus.
Or what are you left with? Okay, and then these are the same. Basically what you do is you pull that out as a binomial GCF, and that's how you're left with x plus 2. Took a lot longer than guess and check on FOIL. We're not done yet, though. What are the answers? X equals, everyone should be able to tell me this. And then x equals, that was awesome. 6th hour. Good stuff. So what do you do on this supposed number 37? Yeah, it's a tough one. And I had the same reaction each time I asked someone this. But how do you get rid of a square root? That's really what is going on here. Square it. But here's the situation I did every single time with the whole class. Do you want to square now? Just say no. You said no. Because you know what would happen? If you squared this, you'd have 9 multiplications. No. No way. What do you think you should do before you square both sides?
Get it all on one side.
Did you? He's got to answer a question. He's just got to do it. He said get it all on one side. So what do I got to do? Who do I want to get on one side all by itself? Because it's antisocial with everything else. Well, okay. Actually, the antisocial one is the square root thing, though. So you decided to get that over there. So what would this be rewritten as? So you're getting x plus 1 over on the other side. So what should I write over here? Here you go. Negative x what? And then this is cat. I'm not showing FOIL. And as a matter of fact, someone might say divide by, anyone? Sorry about that, Chief. Divide by negative 2. But what would that give me is it starts with an F. Fractions. And I like fractions, but if we can avoid them, we will. The problem that this does, though, is it gives us an issue that students mess up all the time. Who should I square on the left side? The negative 2. What's negative 2 squared? And then student number 18, what happens with squaring the square root of x plus 4? Freedom, but then another thing is you have to distribute the 4. And then that equals, this is what I was yelling at you about, I'm not teaching foiling. Not gonna do it. Alright, that's how that foils over here. Negative x times negative x is x squared. And then you have negative x times negative 1 twice if you wrote this out as a FOIL, which gives me 2 x's. Then you get negative 1 times negative. Well, gosh golly, I just taught FOIL and I said I wasn't going to. And then you distribute. I'm a little worried about time because I do want to get to the graphing calculator. I promised 1st hour. But then I realized 1st hour, we actually already did graphing calculator analysis on this stuff. So, and that's our next example that I'll show real fast. Okay, student 18 again. This is definitely on FOIL. I'm not letting you do a long process on this. What are those factors? Whenever it's 1x squared, you said 3, right? Whenever it's 1x squared, whatever the MA numbers are, that's what goes into parentheses. And then what's the final answer for x? Now, anyone that's not listening to me right now will fail. That's how life works. Okay? Does negative 2 equal 2? Just follow my logic. Yes or no? No. But does negative 2 squared equal 2 squared? Yes. Do you know what these answers solve? This. After you squared, what do you have to check? Do they work for before I square? You guys are killing me here. Okay, so now let's get another student because I want to mix it up. Student number 12, who's that? You. All right. And this is the same time you got picked last time. You're the guy for this. What's 5 plus 4? 9. What's the square root of 9?
3.
3 times 2 is?
6.
Hold 6 in your head right here. What's 5 plus 1?
6.
What's 6 minus 6? 0. Circle it. And then let's do it again because it's fun. Oh boy. All right. What is negative 3 plus 4?
1.
What's the square root of 1? What's 2 times 1?
2.
Hold 2 in here. Basically, I could get rid of this and just know that that's 2 right there. And then what's negative 3 plus 1? Uh-oh.
Negative 2.
What's negative 2 minus 2?
Negative 4.
Does that equal 0?
No.
What kind of solution is that called, everybody?
Straight.
Oh, that's awesome. You've been trained. You don't have to write the word extraneous. All that means is you did valid, solid, perfect math. The problem is the answers you get may not necessarily solve the original. Okay, now you can listen or not. I'm going to go through this super fast. We're going to go ahead and do this, and I forgot that we already have. But I did promise first hour I was going to do it. So here's my Inspire. I'm going to close it and then open it again. And I'll do that offline because that takes like a minute. Go through the Inspire real quick one more time. Remember, Inspires. Your grouping button is right here. I don't know if you can see that on the computer, but here it is right there. And that's where you find absolute value. And I got to arrow down. You better follow along, and if you don't, guess what? It's in the end of the video, and you get to follow along again with me at home. Hear my melodious voice yet one more time. Then you toggle down to get f sub 2 of x. And then you go back into the grouping symbol, or the square root is somewhere else somewhere on your Inspire. You know where it's at, right? Square root button you probably use a lot. But I'm just going in here again. Shucks, I didn't put 2 times first. That's going to cause a little bit of an issue and cause me some time. Yep, 2 times. Okay, and then press enter on that. And then I do have a nice picture. I don't know why mine's so nice, but I just realized that you can grab your screen and move it if you ever needed to move it around. You can go ahead and put it on my desk. Now, you hit Menu, Analyze Graph, Intersection, and then this thing comes up, and you can move it around. Basically, what you need to do is hit this middle area here and toggle a spot. Enter. And then open it up. Boom. And then you can finish that and drag that over here. Did I make a mistake in typing this in? I did. You guys didn't tell me. Oh, and it's online for billions to listen and look at. What did I do wrong?
X plus 8.
Oh, it's x plus 8. I'm so upset with myself. There we go. Oh, I bet you this is not going to work well. I knew it. Oh, for the love of it. I'm glad this is all in video. Now press enter. Sorry. So, hey, wow, that was cool. It changed my intersection right away. That was neat. I liked it. What's the answer, though, x or y? What's the answer, x or y?
X.
It's actually x. It's what you plug in for x to get these outputs y's to be equal on both sides. I'm done with the Inspire. Now it's the 84. I'll do the other one on the 84. And because of time, I already have them plugged in. Okay, but how do you find the absolute value button? Math, num. Okay, and then we know where the square root button is. So we've already done this. Hit graph, and there they are. Okay, so you get your graphs inputted, you find out and remember where you get those absolute value buttons, and you do it. Then after that, you hit second, calculate, intersect. And I am not the calculator person that did this. But all you need to do when they ask for first curve is to go right, left buttons until you're close to the intersection you want to find. I told you I was going to find the second one with the 84. Then how many times you press enter, 84s?
3.
1, 2, 3, done. It's the x value, 2.86. So, again, redundancies. We did this in Chapter P. Awesome.